They say this is just a mere publicity stunt.
Now, if raiding, torturing my family, and occupying my house after ramshackling it is a publicity stunt, I don't know, is it my publicity stunt or the publicity stunt of the Ugandan military? So if me being able to communicate to the world and expose the atrocities of the Ugandan regime is a publicity stunt, then I don't think that's a bad publicity stunt, is it?
Well, some people are accusing you of mudding or dirtying up the image of Uganda.
Yeah, but if there's anything or anybody that is denting the image of the country, those are the atrocities that are being done in our country. Now, this is a regime that abducts people and keeps them missing for weeks, sometimes months. Some have not shown up again. You know, we have 18 families that are demanding for their people. They've not shown up again. We have seen others that show up gravely tortured, medieval torture. This is what we're dealing with. It is happening in real life. And I expect young Africans like yourselves to be concerned.
Oh, he got frustrated. He told him, I expect what? Listen here, ladies and gentlemen.
Gravely tortured, medieval torture. This is what we're dealing with. It is happening in real life. And I expect young Africans like yourselves to be concerned.
And yes, indeed, broadcasting to you from these United States of the America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might enjoy this broadcast. My name is Mordecai Murisa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Murisa Live. Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here yet again to look at another Bobi Wine interview. I expect to have many of them since he's able to talk to us from the US. This one, I think I've always wanted to see this side of Bobi Wine. Steady fast, no smile, no patience, no niceties. I mean, straight to the point. Oh my Lord, unequivocal. You're gonna enjoy this one. So this guy who interviewed him was trying to play devil's advocate. Isn't it funny? There's that really boring way we folks from the press usually want to do in interviews. Let me play devil's advocate. And we've pretty much made it a tradition. Every time I have someone who is a politician or any person, I want to try to play devil's advocate. Sometimes it is unnecessary. And that's what you're going to do. Like, imagine if I was playing devil's advocate while interviewing Adolf Hitler. I was reading might make you laugh. I was reading Mein Kampf of Adolf Hitler. And let me give you an example of what he says here. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what Hitler says here, and then we're going to go to Bobi Wine. This is what he says. He says, in the chapter called Race and Culture, he says, all that we admire in the world today, science, art, technology, and inventions, are the products of creative activities of a few peoples, and perhaps even originally from one race. The maintenance of civilization is wholly dependent on them. Should they perish, all that makes this earth beautiful will descend with them into the grave. So how do you play devil's advocate? Let me tell you, that is utter nonsense. You just have to be like, hey, Adolf Hitler, that's utter nonsense. It's BS. Shut up. Okay? So you're going to see this man. I think Bobi Wine got to a point where he was really frustrated. He called him out. He told him, and I'm going to quote him verbatim. He said, I expect young Africans like yourself to be concerned. All right, enough with my flapping of gums without showing you the interview. Let's go and listen to what they have to say, how this went down. But before I do that, I ask you to subscribe, like this video, and invite others to join us. Okay, let's do this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a YouTube channel. I think it's a media platform called Africa Thinks. This is Bobi Wine. Let's go on.
Now, in your earlier submission, you talked about the fact that you had to run away from the country due to your life being threatened or your life being in danger. But some people are questioning that because they said you said your life was in danger, but you were constantly on social media platforms videotaping yourself talking in some areas or in some parts of Uganda before leaving, and that they said this is just a mere publicity stunt just to demonize the country and make the president unpopular among Ugandans, and that you lost the election fair and square. You are just, trying to blackmail the government using some of these videos that you are making just to undercut the international support the government has. What say you?
By the fact that we are communicating virtually using the internet, it makes me suppose that you have been watching the tweets of the Chief of Defense Forces in Uganda, who is also the son of General Museveni, who has publicly confessed to killing 24 members of my party and saying that I should be the 25th dead body. I'm sure you have seen him promise and indeed fulfilling the promise of abducting my people, beginning with my bodyguard, who was abducted and tortured under his basement. And he did this live on social media. I am sure you are aware that my house was raided on the 16th of January, just one day after the election, and I had to run away from my home. I am sure that you have seen that on the 25th of January, again, my house was raided and my wife beaten so bad that she ended up in hospital and she had to escape from the hospital bed to sneak out of the country. I am sure you have seen that. And anybody that calls this a publicity stunt, I am not sure what to call this. My home was taken over and occupied by the military until yesterday, when out of shame and out of international pressure, they had to leave my country. Now, if raiding, torturing my family, and occupying my house after ramshackling it is a publicity stunt, I don't know, is it my publicity stunt or the publicity stunt of the Ugandan military?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you go like mic drop. Mic drop. I mean, mic drop. I mean, there's a position you have to assume when you go on and ask those kind of questions. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you mean? I mean, you have to assume an ignorant position in order to play this devil's advocate. I mean, there's proof on the internet where Bobi Wine's best friend, or not best friend, but close friend and personal bodyguard was abducted on the orders of Muhoozi Kainerugaba. And he posted pictures after torturing him. He's told you, all these people that have died, members of Bobi Wine's political party, I killed them. Then, is that a publicity stunt? What do you mean? Publicity stunt? What do you, I mean, that's why I say, sometimes these traditional, perception of wanting to always play devil's advocate, choosing a devil's advocate all the time, sometimes it is unnecessary.
I ran out of the country. I ran out of my house. But I was able, just like I was able to outsmart and beat the Ugandan military, which had surrounded my house, to leave my house. I was able to beat them to close to 2 months when I was within the country. But I had, like I mentioned, that I ran out of my house and was in hiding to be sure that I communicate to the world. I'm sure if I stayed, I would either be dead or completely tortured. I would not be able to communicate to the world. But ever since I left, I've been able to offer leadership to the forces of change. And indeed, I'm able to communicate to the world like I'm doing now. So if me being able to communicate to the world and expose the atrocities of the Ugandan regime is a publicity stunt, then I don't think that's a bad publicity stunt, is it?
Well, some people are accusing you of mudding or dirtying up the image of Uganda as a partner to Western countries to bring stability and peace and political peace in the East Africa region, and that by constantly bombarding the international community with what they say fake news of human rights violations and harassment is basically mudding and dirtying the international image of Uganda. Basically preventing people from coming to invest in Uganda. They
Yeah,
are.
but if there's anything or anybody that is denting the image of the country, those are the atrocities that are being done in our country. You
Wow.
know, where the actions of Adolf Hitler are the ones denting the image of Germany then, or those that exposed it?
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you accuse me of saying these ideas of Adolf Hitler are stupid? Nobody should believe them and be like, oh, you are attacking and destroying the image of Germany. Absolutely not. It is Adolf Hitler that makes Germany look really ugly in so many people's faces. So in order to fix the image of Germany, it is when you decampaign, deassociate, completely trash these ideas of Adolf Hitler in trash. I don't understand it when folks say, me who says it is extremely immoral, illegal, and unethical to torture, abduct, and disappear people and murder them. Oh, I am the bad guy. I do not understand how these folks live by themselves, even go to bed. If they think that me saying it is extra, and I know usually how they hide in, oh, Mordecai, you don't know how power operates. I don't care really. Stop abducting people. Stop torturing them. Stop killing them. Period.
It's very unfortunate that we seem to we keep having gaslighting, where the victim is demonized while the culprit
Exactly.
is trying to play innocent. You know, the tortures, the extrajudicial murders that are going on in Uganda are not orchestrated by me, but
Good.
by the regime. On the 18th and 19th of November 2020, there was a massacre in the country. I did not kill those people. The Ugandan government killed those people. We went into an election which you and all the world saw turned into a military operation. I did not torture the Ugandans. I did not kill the Ugandans. The Ugandan regime killed the Ugandans. The Electoral Commission gave me a security detail, but at the end of the campaign, the entire security detail that was given to me was arrested, and now they are detained just because they did not spy on me. I did not do that. The regime did that. As we speak right now, my personal assistant called Sheriff Naja had his house raided and his wife abducted. The wife of Sheriff Naja is now missing for more than 2 weeks. I did not abduct her. The Ugandan military abducted her. And this happened on camera and we showed it to the world. Now the blame does not go to me. The blame goes to those that instead that are charged with the duty and mandate of guarding and protecting Ugandans, but instead abducting them and torturing them. If the Ugandan regime wants a good image for the country, let them respect human rights. Let them respect democracy. Let them respect the rule of law.
Sounds easy for me. It sounds really easy. I mean, you don't want me to think that you're an a-hole? Yeah. How about, maybe you should treat people with respect. How about you treat people with kindness? How about you treat people with dignity and empathy? How about you stop behaving like a complete jackass? I'm sorry for using that language. How about you just be a good human being, period? I do not understand. People are extremely obsessed with appearing nice or good instead of just being good. I don't understand. I cannot imagine myself trying to appear good before people. It is a lot of work that I have to put into trying to appear good instead of just being a good man. How about that? So, if these folks want us to say all these nice things about Uganda, how about Uganda behaves like a reasonable country? How about those folks in power protect people and their property, keep law and order, respect human rights, the rule of law, democracy, constitutionalism? How about that? I mean, how do I? Tell me, talk to me like a kindergartner. If you are a Muhoozi sympathizer, talk to me like a kindergartner. If Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the commander of our defense forces, orders the abduction of Kakwenza Ruchirabashija, orders the abduction of Eddie Mutwe, posts about how they've been tortured, gloats in that action, Tell me how I talk to the people in the US or in Europe or in Asia. Be like, okay, let me tell you, man, our command of the defense forces, he's a good man. He's just angry. And when he gets angry, just cuts off your finger. How do I sugarcoat that action? Jeez, the level of gaslighting all the time.
You talked about the election. Some people are wondering whether you legitimately won the election as you claim, because
what? Jeez, this man has just explained what went down and what's going on right now. Oh, let me show you. I can actually be this devil's advocate in stupid ways you've never seen.
I argue, if you have evidence of election mismanagement, irregularities, or rigging like you claim, where is the evidence? They argue to present it before the court of law, to argue your case in court, rather than just saying that the elections were rigged without providing any empirical proof to back up your allegation, they argue. What do you say to such critics?
We had a general election on the 15th of January 2026. But by the 14th of January, more than 400 leaders of my party had been abducted and they were missing. These include two of my deputy presidents, my deputy president of Northern Uganda and Western Uganda, who are women. They were abducted and held in a military barracks.
I mean, I'm sorry for pausing here, but I want to tell you this. I've always said this, write it on my X platform over and over again as a reminder to some of Museveni apologists who may want to engage in a conversation with me. I don't know for what reason, because they will never win over me. Engaging a Museveni apologist in any form of constructive conversation, it is an exercise in futility. Like, this man will give a myriad of examples of how the election wasn't free and fair. Even when they saw all these atrocities being committed, they will resort to gaslighting, whataboutism, and utter deflection. It is sad. It's a sad sight to behold.
In Kasenyi, commanded by General Museveni's son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is the head of the security forces, they were missing for 2 weeks until they resurfaced again. And they told their ordeal to the world. On the day of election, 15th of January, my deputy president for the Buganda region, the most populous region, had his house raided, and 10 people were shot and killed in his house. Let me say this again. 10 people were shot and killed in the military, 8 of whom were women. They were killed by Ugandan military and the police. He was later picked up and is in prison. Many others were picked up. Majority of our election observers and election agents were picked, and many of them are still missing, while others were kept in prison for various days and later on freed without no charge. So, was that an election? In my opinion, and I believe in the opinion of any sane person, was not an election, but a military operation.
Wow. I mean, what you see here is a man, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert alias Bobi Wine, with a very steady voice, laced in unmistakable exhaustion from this relentless cycle of misleading and dismissive questioning from journalists who are usually echoing pro-regime talking points. Oh, you are in a stunt. Tell us, the election was free and fair. Show us the proof. I mean, you can tell from his stern yet unyielding expression, forcefully challenging those narratives with giving you a billion examples. Oh, my Lord.
So let me ask you this question, because some Ugandans have been telling me that, like your former colleague, Dr. Chisa Besigye, who is in jail right now, he left the FDC, handed over to somebody, endorsed somebody to run as a presidential candidate. They are wondering if the leadership you provide will also get you there to support somebody else to peacefully contest against the government, as they argue, or the ruling National Resistance Movement, NRM. They argue if you will have that capacity to...
Oh my God. Jeez, who writes these questions? We are discussing a decline, a dead country, a system that is completely broken. Oh, let me ask you about Dr. Kizza Besigye, who is being tortured, who is facing the wrath of this rotten system. Will you hand over?
See Uganda as bigger than yourself to support somebody else, because they argue that you have fallen out with a lot of people who have capacity, who you believe could equally be have that capacity to run as presidential candidates of the National Unity Platform, your party. No, what say you?
Now, Peter, I am glad. First of all, you seem to be in a rush
Thank you.
to sweep me off the matters that are concerning and are pertinent right now. But I'm very glad you mentioned Dr. Kizza Besigye. Dr. Kizza Besigye is a veteran political leader who was close to 2 years ago abducted from Kenya by the Ugandan regime and illegally brought to Uganda, charged illegally in a military court, and now he continues to be in prison. So that should further show you the kind of the regime that you seem very, very eager to protect or have its atrocities
I
swept.
don't think that guy is trying to defend the regime. Well, I don't know. He might be a sympathizer of the regime. I don't think he's trying to defend the regime. He's trying to play this stupid devil's advocate position. Oh, see me? I'm going to appear opposing to your agenda. We get lost in wanting to choose a position when we do business as usual. Oh, I should have a devil's advocate position when I have a politician. Sometimes it is unnecessary. Listen to the ordeal of the man. Listen to what he's telling you. We are talking about loss of lives, abduction, raiding of homes, and killing of people. That's what we're talking about. There's no need to play devil's advocate. Gosh.
Under the camera, under the carpet.
No,
When
I'm not sweeping.
When I was showing up, yeah, I didn't know. I was not dying to be president.
Thank you.
My desire is to have a free country.
Thank you.
To have a country that works for everybody. We have a dictatorship. We have a president that has been in power for 40 years and counting. And that is our urgent fight right now.
Wow.
Our fight is to see democracy in our lifetime. Our fight is to have an election where people have the right to vote, where a vote counts. We are fighting for a vote right now.
My question is,
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Please share this link with people out there. Show them what's going on here. Because what you're witnessing is a defiance and frustration in real time. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert refusing to be shaken by the attempt of this guy to trivialize this struggle of the Ugandan people. What you see there, it is a striking clarity from him. Conviction about the cause. It is projecting of resilience and that unflinching determination to stand his ground in the face of this man that seems playing devil's advocate. See me.
Are you willing to do? You are talking about the fight for democracy, peace, and the respect of human rights. The question I'm asking is, what are you willing to do in your capacity, peacefully, to see these enumerations actualize in Uganda?
He doesn't even wait him to finish. Everything. Close this interview already. That's what Bobi Wine is saying. This is a lot of nonsense. Please end this interview already.
Everything. I am willing to do everything moral and constitutional to see a free, peaceful, and democratic Uganda. That is my dream. I'm a firm believer in democracy. And I must tell you that I'm leading a generation that is full of capable, talented, and qualified young people. Which young people we strongly believe will be able to usher our country to greater heights.
You called for sanctions to be placed on certain people in Uganda, targeted sanctions, as you call them. How feasible is this? And do you think the people you are having negotiations with will impose those sanctions that you seek?
Well, the people that I'm talking to, not having negotiations with, but talking to are the ones that have funded the regime, that have supported the regime for the last 40 years. You'll notice that for a long time, the Ugandan regime has been receiving up to 1 billion US dollars in terms of aid. That is America alone. And there's also the UK and the the UK and the European Union. These are people that profess values of democracy, of human rights, and the rule of law. Our demand is one: stop funding our operation. We are not asking them to come and save us. No, we are telling them that we can fight for ourselves because our fight is in Uganda. But we cannot fight against 1 billion US dollars a year. We cannot fight against the French guns. We cannot fight against the pounds that are flowing into Uganda. We are only asking them to tag the aid that they give to the regime of Uganda to the values, to condition it to democracy and human rights. And I've said it many times that the standard of human rights in Uganda should be the same in Europe. I have not seen European or American leaders standing shoulder to shoulder with European dictators like Lukashenko of Belarus.
Absolutely, they've not. And look, America stands with 60% of world dictators, and I really, really find that really sad. I believe there's a place in the future where people truly believe democratic values, where you don't have to stand with a person who prides in killing his own people or their own people or her own people. There's a lot of double dealing. There's a lot of hypocrisy. But what is saying? America has taught us these democratic values for quite some times, for quite some years. Europe, how about you come and say, hey, we're not funding you anymore until you start respecting human rights. We're going to be evaluating you. And it's upon the evaluation that we'll see how we can fund you. How about that?
So we are asking them to treat Africa at the same level of democracy and human rights like they do to the rest of the world.
With this fight that you've taken upon yourself and, rallying the young people of Uganda, what do you think are the prospects of success that you see on the ground so far?
If you have been following what's in Uganda, I'm sure you have seen how massively the people of Uganda, especially the young people, are yearning for change. When we went into this election, we were not oblivious that we are under a military regime. But we went in with a belief that even if the opportunity and the possibility of change is 1%, it is worth the fight. And indeed, the world saw the young and the old, the rich and poor showing up to express desire for change. We are confident that it will happen. We always look back in history. Mandela taught us that it always seems impossible until it's done. We have seen examples of countries that had dictators that were more funded and were more able and had stronger armies, like Sudan, like Egypt. But they fell under the unwavering pressure of the people. And we know that the regime, the dictatorship in Uganda will fall. There's never a rise and rise of a dictator. No, it is always the rise and fall. And therefore, I can guarantee you that it will never be the rise and rise of General Museveni. No, there was the rise and now there is the decline, which will ultimately become the fall of General Museveni.
Talking about a decline, what do you mean a decline? Because the last time I checked, the recent elections,
This man, okay.
show that the President Yoweri Museveni got up close to about 70% or so. So what is the decline? Explain to me what the decline
Well,
about means.
probably
Doesn't allow him to even finish.
the last time you checked, you did not check right. All right? We have an electoral commission that it is completely in the hands.
He's mad. He's mad. Look at his face. He's really mad. He's tired of this boring, stupid, repetitive Museveni talking points driven talk here.
Of the regime, an electoral commission that is not going to look at what the people vote, at what the people say at the polling stations. I'm sure you are aware that the internet was switched off 2 days to the election. You've not seen that in your country. It happened in Uganda. I'm sure you have seen the military completely taking over the election. And what came out of the polling stations is not what was declared by Mr. Byabakama, the electoral commissioner, the head of the electoral commission, who is a Museveni puppet. That is not what he did, what happened. So I'll tell you that what you saw declared was just, a declaration of the military. He was just ordered to declare what was declared. I'll tell you that majority of the members of parliament in our party won on all polling stations in the capital city. I'll give an example of Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, of David Lewis Rubongoya, and others that won on all polling stations, but there were orders from the regime about who should be declared and who should not be declared.
And I think then we need to ask a question. The regime did that, of course, but then we need to question, why did the regime actually allow some people to be declared? And who are these people? Are they in any way connected to the regime or not?
So what was declared by the Electoral Commission is completely fake, is completely wrong, and does not in any way reflect the will of the people of Uganda.
Now, before we go, Robert Chagulanyi, otherwise known as, or popularly known as Bobi Wine, concerns have been raised about the respect for human rights in the East Africa region and part of Africa. As a main opposition leader who has been championing and calling for the rights of individuals across the continent to be respected, what say you about this? Because people in East Africa have been complaining for some time about right abuses. However, the governments of these countries are saying that their mandate is to protect the life and property of people, as well as maintain law and order. And some of you opposition leaders act as agitators to cause disaffection and undermine the territorial integrity of these countries. So what say you about these back and forth as we see it from here?
You will notice that all those words are just, big English words that are being thrown around to cover up for evil. I have
exactly
just told you that in the most recent days, my personal assistant called Sheriff Naja had his house raided because the military thought I was hiding in his house. His wife was abducted. She is missing for 2 weeks now. We don't know what is happening to her. And we have a regime in Uganda that is notorious of torturing people, killing people, and raping women in custody. Many young men have come out of custody, complaining of being sodomized in custody. Now, this is a regime that abducts people and keeps them missing for weeks, sometimes months. Some have not shown up again. We have 18 families that are demanding for their people. They've not shown up again. We have seen others that show up gravely tortured, medieval torture. This is what we're dealing with. It is happening in real life. And I expect young Africans like yourselves to be concerned.
Oh, he got frustrated. He told him, I expect what? Listen here, ladies and gentlemen.
Gravely tortured, medieval torture. This is what we're dealing with. It is happening in real life. And I expect young Africans like yourselves to be concerned. Because when this is happening in Uganda, it is a signal that it can happen anywhere else.
Yep. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
People used to think it's only happening in Uganda, but abductions have been now, exported to Kenya, exported to Tanzania, and before you know, they're going to be exported to your country. I've always said it to all people, whether you are a politician or doctor or journalist like you, that nobody is safe until we are all safe.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God. This was action packed. Now that is called standing one's ground. That's what Bobi Wine did. Despite of this whataboutism, the talking points, And, at the end, this man engages in this hollow academic semantics and platitudes. Oh, the government says its mandate, it's to protect its people and property. These are all just platitudes. These are cliches. They just say those words for the sake. They don't care. Museveni calls himself liberator. Liberated people from what to what? From abducting to abducting? From killing innocent people to killing innocent people? From corruption to corruption? These are just words that are thrown around. Oh, see me, this is what I am. They mean nothing. They don't care at all. Let me know what you think. I think this interview just made me sick. What do you think? My name is Mordecai Morisa. Regardless, we smile. Because we know at the end of it all, a smile is what we got to offer to the world. The closest distance from one person to another. All right, please consider subscribing. Invite others to join us. And please like this video. Join the membership crew. I think that's what it's called. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.